Hey, what's up, everybody? This is your podcast host, Hanju Lee, and you are listening to Better Golf Daily, where I introduce one concept, one research-backed idea, and one thing you can take straight to the golf course. Let's go. All right, so picture this. You just won the U.S. Open, like the U.S. Open. Your name is Jon Rahm, and it's June 2021. You just birdied the last two holes at Torrey Pines to win your first major. And a few days later, you're throwing yourself a huge party in Scottsdale. Champagne, friends, the whole thing. And somehow, Michael Phelps is even there, like the most decorated Olympian of all time is just hanging out at your party. Which, sure, fine. I guess that's just life on that level. So Rahm turns to his sports psychologist, a guy named Dr. Brett McCabe, and he says, "Hey, so I just won the U.S. Open. So what now?" And McCabe, without missing a beat, says, "Get back to work." And Phelps, standing right there, just goes, "Yep, exactly." And he says, "You're not going to be happy for very long." Okay, so wait. You just won the biggest tournament in sport. And the advice from the two guys who's been to the absolute mountaintop is basically telling you, don't get comfortable. The good feelings doesn't last. All right, so let's unpack that for a bit. So this is episode 1 of a brand new 5-part series, and is built around the book by the same guy, Dr. Brett McCabe. He's a clinical and sports psychologist who works with a bunch of PGA Tour guys. Let me name a few. Jon Rahm, have you heard of him? Sam Burns, have you heard of him? Billy Horschel, have you heard of him? Ian Poulter, have you heard of him? And the book is called Break Free from Suckville. Which, yes, I think that's a great title. And yes, I love it because it's the most honest name for a golf book I've ever heard. Over the next 5 episodes, we're going to dig deep into this idea from a few different angles and why we get stuck there, why fighting it makes it worse, and how you actually climb out of Suckville. And today, we're just laying the groundwork and defining what even is Suckville. Here's McCabe's definition, more or less in his own words. Suckville is the space between your possibility and the reality of your performance. Possibility and the reality, the space in between. It's that gap between how good you think you should be and how you're actually playing right now. And he says, you'll never actually close that gap. Not eventually if you work hard enough. Never. There's this myth, he said, that if you just prepare the right way, you'll finally arrive. You'll finally play to your potential and stay there. And McCabe just says, nope, that's not how it works. And chasing that idea is actually what wrecks people's games. I don't know about you, but that reframes something for me because I think a lot of us, me included, walk around with this quiet belief that there's a version of our golf game waiting for us. Like if we just get the short game dialed in or finally fix this one move in my backswing, I'll get there. And then I'll just be a good golfer permanently, happily ever after. And McCabe's basically saying that finish line doesn't exist, dude. Even the U.S. Open champion doesn't get to stand on it. He wins the biggest event in golf, and 3 days later, his own guy is telling him to get back to work because the happiness fades fast, and the next challenge is already lining up. So what do you do with that on a random Tuesday 9-hole night with your buddies? Well, honestly, I think it starts with just naming it. The next time you're standing on the range, hitting it beautifully, and then you go make a double bogey on the first hole and you feel that gut punch, that's not a sign something's wrong with you. That's just Suckville. That's the norm. Built-in gap every golfer lives in, from the rawest beginning to the reigning U.S. champion at his own party. McCabe says it's not a matter of if you end up there, it's when. And everybody does. The question the rest of this series is going to chase is, what do you do once you're there? For now, there's only one thing I will actually try. Next time you feel that frustration bubble up on the course, the I should be better than this feeling, just say the word to yourself, Suckville. Just name it. It sounds almost too simple, but there's something to taking a feeling that's usually spiral into I am terrible, I'll never fix this, and instead going, oh, this is just the thing every golfer feels. This has a name, and this is normal. That tiny shift from a personal failure to universal experience is where this whole series starts. Okay, thank you for tuning in, everyone. Talk to you next time. Until then, welcome to Suckville. Population, literally every golfer who ever picked up a club, including the guy who just won the US Open. Bye for now.